7 days ago in the wee hours of the morning, 10 prisoners would escape from a New Orleans jail, and at this point, there are still 5 remaining fugitives. Up until about the 3rd day after this daring jailbreak, prisoners were being apprehended. But since then, things have gotten quiet, and quiet is undoubtedly not good. Quiet could potentially mean that these remaining 5 fugitives have gotten out of the city, possibly even out of the state. Who knows where these guys are at this point? And that certainly is not a good look for the New Orleans Sheriff's Department at the center of this fiasco. Again, with today marking 1 week since this jailbreak first occurred, folks, just yesterday, a 3rd woman would be arrested for her alleged role in helping one of these fugitives get away. 3rd woman arrested for allegedly assisting New Orleans inmate escape, still at large. A Slidell woman was arrested and accused of helping a fugitive who is still at large from the massive New Orleans jailbreak elude capture. Connie Whedon, 59, was taken into custody in Slidell and booked into the St. Tammany Parish Correctional Center on Thursday. In addition to jail employees, she's the 3rd person arrested for assisting the Orleans Justice Center jail escaped inmates. Whedon faces a felony charge of accessory after the fact for allegedly assisting Jermaine Donald, one of the 5 escapees still on the run. Whedon was in contact via phone both before and after the escape. Investigators determined that after the escape, she provided Donald with cash through a cell phone app. That paper trail is going to catch you every time. Yeah, man, you provided this escapee with some money. You aided and abetted, and now you got a felony charge. Imagine if this woman, 59 years old, had never been in trouble in her life before. Now, she's potentially facing prison time. Donald remains at large with 4 others who broke out of the Orleans Justice Center on May the 16th, again a week ago at this point. Authorities have recaptured 5 of the original 10 who escaped. Law enforcement officials warned that helping fugitives will carry serious consequences, especially in a nationwide manhunt with so much notoriety. This thing is getting more coverage than the frickin' Diddy trial, or possibly they're neck and neck. The Diddy trial has some wild stuff going on with it too. We should cover that here. Those who choose to assist or conceal these individuals are violating the law and will be held accountable, the state police said. Harboring fugitive threatens the safety of our community and will not be tolerated. Under Louisiana law, a conviction for accessory after the fact carries a penalty of up to 5 years in prison, a fine of up to $500, or both. Imagine getting 5 years in prison and you never even had a criminal record. All because you thought you were doing the right thing. Earlier on Thursday, the Orleans Parish District Attorney issued subpoenas to the Orleans Parish Sheriff, Susan Hudson. How you up for re-election and you're getting subpoenaed to testify about what you've done to help get these guys caught, but probably more importantly, what you didn't do that led to this escape taking place in the first place. They also subpoenaed other staff members as part of an ongoing investigation into the escape of the inmates. The order demanded access to emails, text messages, internal messages from or to Hudson and other OPSO staff and contractors, including those to Sterling Williams. They want all the documents. And guess what the most interesting of those documents is going to be? Anything that took place in the 2 hours from the time that the jail found out that these guys escaped until the public was made aware of this. And I need to reiterate something that may be getting lost on people. It took 2 hours for the sheriff's department to say, yes, we do have 10 escaped prisoners. The only reason that they said this 2 hours later is because the media had gotten wind of it, and it was the media who leaked this prior to the sheriff's department announcing it. Media came first, sheriff's department followed immediately after. Yep, they're right. Channel 3A, they're right. We do actually have 10 escaped convicts on the loose right now. We got no idea where they're at. If the media hadn't gotten wind and leaked this when they did, when do you think the sheriff's office would have made mention of this? Would they have tried to keep this completely under the rug? Would we know about it at this point, a week later? I'm sure we would have. Somebody would have found out and got this out there. Thank God it was only 2 hours after the jail found out that they actually acknowledged this. Imagine if the media didn't find out for 4 or 6 or 8 hours and then they leaked it then. How much even worse this sheriff's department and this particular sheriff, Susan Hudson, would be looking right now. But you're looking pretty damn bad as it is. Not only do we have another woman who just got apprehended, bringing the grand total of civilians up to 3, make that 4 with the jail worker Sterling Williams. 5 escapees have been reapprehended. 5 still remain fugitives. Real quick, had to jump in here. Saturday morning, there's been more developments. It's now being reported that 7 people have now been arrested for allegedly helping inmates who broke out of a New Orleans jail last week as the search continues for 5 outstanding escapees and any other alleged accomplices continues, authorities said. 2 arrests occurred on Friday as the number of people alleged to have assisted the 10 inmates who escaped from the Orleans Justice Center grows. Among them, 23-year-old Trevon Williams, an inmate at the jail. Damn, how you get arrested when you're already arrested? He was arrested after the Louisiana Attorney General's office said its agents obtained significant evidence that he assisted in his fellow inmates' escape in the early morning hours of May the 16th. According to an arrest warrant, Williams was wearing a distinctive black orthopedic boot on his right foot, was seen on surveillance camera entering a cell involved in the escape at approximately 12:35 on May 16th and remained there for nearly 30 minutes, the same time window during which the inmates made their escape. Investigators believe Williams supplied a blanket and shirt to aid escapees in climbing over the facility's razor wire top fencing, according to a warrant. When questioned on Thursday, Williams told investigators he could not remember why he entered the cell or what happened inside during that time, according to the warrant. Good on him. He ain't saying shit. If you're locked up and you get involved in some shit like this, you got to go hard till the end. And clearly, hey, this guy didn't pull him a Kid Cudi in the courtroom. Young Thug said Kid Cudi was a snitch for testifying in the Diddy trial. Any thoughts about that? A second man was also arrested on Friday and accused of helping 2 inmates after their escape, according to the New Orleans Police Department. Emmett Weber, 28, was taken into custody after police executed a high-risk warrant at a home in New Orleans, police said. After questioning, Weber was arrested and has been charged with accessory after the fact. A jail employee accused of helping the inmates break out, and 4 women who allegedly helped some of them once free have also been previously arrested in connection with the jailbreak. Yeah, so I only had 6 coming up. 2 women, the elderly woman, Sterling Williams, Emmett Weber, who was just arrested, and this prisoner who didn't remember why he entered the cell. But they mentioned a Casey Smith, 30 years old, was arrested on Thursday for allegedly assisting 2 of the 10 inmates who escaped from the jail. And there's her picture right there. Wowzers, looks shocked to be there. I was always going to make this a completely separate video, but I just want to throw this in right now just so you guys have all of the current information. This is actually huge right now. Louisiana inmates used hair trimmers in efforts to escape from New Orleans jail. Man, these mugs was cutting through the wall with a frickin' pair of beard trimmers. I can all but guarantee you ain't gonna be able to get these shits off commissary no more, or be eligible to get a haircut for that matter in this facility. 10 inmates who broke out of a New Orleans jail in a stunning overnight escape last week used electronic hair trimmers with multiple clipper blades. I'd say so. It probably took a lot of blades to be able to cut through whatever they were trying to get through. With multiple clipper blades to help cut their way through the cell wall, you mean to tell me that a pair of clippers can cut through block and mortar? Investigators continue to comb through previous jail phone records and believe that other incarcerated inmates or employees at the jail could face additional charges for their role in assisting this escape and initial cover-up in the hours following the jailbreak. Cover-up? That's the first that I'm hearing of that. Those inmates are believed to have placed the toilet back on the wall after the jailbreak to conceal the hole behind the toilet that the escapees used to break free. Oh, shit. So the toilet was back on the wall in place, not left sitting in the center of the cell like we've seen in the pictures. Clearly, that's been removed to show the hole that these prisoners escaped through. If you were manning the security system, you would have known a door was open. Former Orleans Parish Sheriff Marlon Gusman, who ran the jail from 2004 to 2022, told CNN, especially in the middle of the night. He oversaw construction at the Orleans Justice Center, which reopened in 2015 as a part of a federal emergency management agency project to replace older jail structures that were damaged during Hurricane Katrina. Gusman told CNN he has no idea how the inmates got into the pipe chase behind the toilet and sink, but emphasized they had to navigate through walls made with a substantial network of concrete molding about 5 inches thick and mixed with rebar, which is reinforced steel. And the pipe chase is secure. If you open the door to the pipe chase, an alarm should go off, the former sheriff told CNN. If you get into the pipe chase, it's not like you are out. You still have to get to another door. Gusman added, so however they got into the pipe chase, I don't know. But once they got into the pipe chase, there was a door that they had to leave out of the pipe chase onto the loading dock. Certainly sounds like somebody potentially left that door unlocked for them, or maybe that lock to that door was as defective as the cell door locks. Folks, there's other information coming out that the public is making this investigation even more difficult than it needs to be because of the mistrust of the police in general. Matter of fact, people are rooting for these guys who escaped, which is diabolical in my opinion, given the fact that some of these guys have murder charges. In fact, most, I believe, of the guys still on the run have the most serious charges. Mistrust in law enforcement complicates the search for the New Orleans jail escapees. I'm not sure who this guy is that they've got in this picture right here. I guess this might just be some regular resident who just distrusts the police. As authorities scour New Orleans for escapees from an audacious jailbreak, they are also confronting entrenched mistrust in law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Whoever wrote this was a beast at Scrabble with all these 7-letter words. Nearly a week after 10 inmates yanked open a faulty cell door inside a city jail and moved the toilet to squeeze through a hole, 5 remain on the lam. The police superintendent has said most of the fugitives were likely still in the city as more than 200 law enforcement personnel worked to find them. Probably a lot of truth to that. Given the fact that it's 7 days later, you know, I would imagine some of these guys have gotten up out of the city. One or some have gotten out. But for the umpteenth time since I've been covering this story, I've got to say, you can rest assured at least one more guy is going to be caught in the city, if not the state, due to the lack of means to an end. But as I talk about that, we've got 3 people who've been arrested for trying to help these people, bringing food, sending cash apps, talking recklessly on recorded jail calls. Oh, hey, you're escaping when? Y'all gonna move the toilet and the jail worker's gonna cut the water off? You don't get no points for picking on an elderly guy while incarcerated, fighting a guy in a wheelchair. You really don't get points for that. You also don't get points for getting your loved ones or your friends and family jammed up because of your own selfish desire to break out of jail. I look at that as a disgusting thing. You know, these women, these 3 women who have been arrested, and possibly even Sterling Williams as well. But you look at these people who have been implicated and arrested because of what they've done to help these guys. I'm sure they knew what they were doing was wrong, but their desire to help their loved ones outweighed the consequences. The risk was worth the reward in that moment. I would wonder if in this particular moment, sitting in a jail cell themselves, if it was worth it. How wild does it have to be sitting in a jail cell right now because you helped somebody to escape from jail and to remain escaped, and they're still out on the run. They're free, and now you're sitting where they should be. Complicating efforts is a history of misconduct and racial bias against black people by the city police, a state police record of excessive force, and a jail system that was found to violate constitutional rights. And make no mistake, this is not just New Orleans and Louisiana that have these type of problems. Unfortunately for Louisiana and New Orleans, though, they're the ones that are front and center right this second due to what's happened because of that. Officials raised concerns that the men are receiving help from the community after 2 people were booked Wednesday on accessory charges and a third was booked on Thursday. Authorities have offered $20,000 in rewards for tips leading to the arrest of fugitives, many of whom were charged with or convicted of violent offenses, including murder. If we feel like law enforcement was here to help us, we would help them, said Mario Westbrook, 48. He realized only after the arrest of escapee, the Kenyan Dennis, that he had unknowingly spoken with the fugitive that day outside of a corner store. Westbrook compared the rush to capture Dennis near Westbrook's home with the often hours-long law enforcement response time in his neighborhood in New Orleans East, a long marginalized stretch of the majority black city. So what he's saying there is, damn, they was quick to come get this guy. They was right there when it was time to apprehend this guy. But yet, let me call the police because of something that's taking place. It's going to take them hours to respond. And I can attest to something similar to that in my particular city, which is one of the worst cities in my state. It's the same exact way. You call the police for anything here, they ain't doing shit. And it's possibly due to being understaffed, underpaid, not paid enough to care, being stretched thin, limited resources, whatever the case may be. I remember a car accident that took place right on my street. Buddy was on a motorcycle. There was a dump truck that was right in front of him. The dump truck, for whatever reason, stopped and started to back up. Buddy on the motorcycle was trying to get up out of the way real quick, dumped the motorcycle, almost got ran over by the dump truck, had to call the police to report the accident. And he sat out there for like 4 hours waiting for the police to show up. Obviously, it wasn't anything serious. Maybe something more serious was taking place during that time, or maybe they just didn't care. Our community, the police come back here. They have no respect for us as human beings, Westbrook says. I got to imagine that is a personal opinion, but also there probably is some truth to that. But I know without knowing that it's not all police who are like that. But you always got bad apples, especially in the police, and maybe more in that line of work than in others, for whatever reason. While dropping off a package near where police had cordoned off streets before capturing escapee Corey Boyd, delivery driver Brandy Peters, 36, said she was surprised authorities caught anyone because normally crime here goes unsolved. Interesting take on the situation, given the fact that 5 of these guys are still at large right now. Will these 5 remaining fugitives remain on the run? And will this add to yet another statistic of unsolved crime in this city? If you ask me, they lean more toward the French Quarter area, protecting and serving there more. Obviously, that's your number one tourist attraction. So that does make a lot of sense, making sure that when people come in from out of town, that's where they are at. Many residents exasperated with what they see as the incompetence of city governance are mocking the outrageous escape. Local clothing store Dirty Coast, a reliable barometer of the city's mood, is even selling a t-shirt based on the inmates' taunt of "too easy, LOL," written above the hole where the inmates escaped. So here it is right here, Dirty Coast, whatever that is, I guess some store down in New Orleans. Sometimes it is too easy. For sale through Monday. Crazy to think that we've got clothing coming out representing this, rooting for these guys who are still on the run. As I was scrolling through this, somebody had posted, "I have the perfect pants to wear with it. If you know, you know." Yeah, so those pants right there were actually worn by one of the first guys who was captured, one of the first 3. I can't remember which one that it was, but he was wearing those exact pants right there. These guys are being sensationalized and turned into martyrs, heroes even, which is diabolical to think what they were originally locked up for. They most certainly were not that. That's all that we got. It's a slow news day. It's been a slow, quiet couple of days, but just wanted to bring you guys the latest and hope that you found some interest in this. If you did, please leave a like and a comment on this, letting me know exactly what you think about all that is still taking place with this active investigation. I'd love to hear what you have to say. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace.